Welcome back to SoFlo Home Project. We're cleaning up the front yard to this beautiful home located in Belle Meade. Working with us today is landscape expert Mr. Steve Beck from Turfworks. So when we first saw the property, there was lots of fallen trees, branches everywhere. The bulk of that cleanup is pretty much gone right now, correct?
Correct.
So
we got it on the trucks. It's on to the next step.
Now we're trying to save the trees that are fallen and that can be saved, like this one right here behind us.
Yeah, one of the things that we saw, and people are too quick to remove them. Some of them need to be removed if they pose a threat to a structure, if there's a danger. Aesthetically, you know, to be quite honest, some of them just don't work anymore. And also, if a tree is pruned or cut in the wrong place, it can cause a problem later on in the life of the tree. So it's best when trying to decide whether to save something or not, call in an expert, call an arborist in, let them take a look at it, see if it can be safely saved.
Right. So this one right here behind us, you're going to show us pretty much all the steps to properly secure it.
Correct.
And safely, you know, try to basically breathe new life into it, right?
Yeah, this is a tree that I highly recommend. It will eventually get big, but it's a native, it's a paradise tree. Okay. Which usually does fine and stuff like this. It'll come around just fine with some irrigation. The homeowners did their best to keep it covered, keep the root system covered.
So that's a good point. When you say keep the roots covered, what do you mean by that?
If there's exposed roots, keep them covered with a burlap. If you don't have access to that, an old sheet, an old towel, you can cover the root system. You don't want to get too much sun exposure. And then try and keep that moist, and that'll help it retain that moisture and better the chances of survival in the future. All
right, so just tell us what to do and we'll try to prop this up in place.
So what we're doing is just going to put 3 stakes, sort of triangulate them around the tree. I'm going to have Lawrence here keep it as straight as possible. It's a good thing to maybe overdo it, because the strapping that we use, the landscape tape, is a little bit flexible and it'll tend to pull back the way it wants to pull. Do the side that it's leaning away from first to try and pull it back, and then we'll just stabilize it with one on that side. And then we just cut some tape to length. People rushed in and they tore out a lot of stuff that might not have needed to be. Could have been saved. We try to do as much of that, and we always try to do that, as much of that as possible.
So Steve, what is this material made out of?
This is a landscape tape. It's actually very similar to the material used on the old-time beach chairs.
I was gonna say, yeah.
The benefits of it are that it'll last 6-8 months, and before the tree starts to grow out of it, it'll sort of disintegrate on its own. And that's about the time period that we want to keep this tree tied up, and most small trees too. And then the main thing is just to be consistent in the watering now.
Okay.
Don't fertilize for at least 6 or 7 months. It can be hard on those roots, especially if there's been saltwater intrusion with the calcium that's down there and the other elements. You can burn the tree. Okay. So not a lot of nitrogen, not a lot of fertilizer for at least 6 months.
When it comes to all these bushes that I see that are also toppled over because of the wind, what would be the solution for that?
Really, very simply, we're just going to cut them back. Okay. Hopefully, Hope won't think it's too severe.
Right.
It helps to know the plant, research the plant.
Got it.
Some of them you don't want to prune severely.
Well, I'm glad you saved this tree, because it really makes a big difference in the overall curb appeal, especially when you walk up to the house. We're going to work on these bushes, right? At least trying to prune them back, like you said before. So while we prep for that, let's go ahead and check in with Tack Renata from Florida Home Improvement Associates.
This family's owned this place at the beach for a long time, and for years they protected their home with accordion shutters. They recently called us out to take a look at changing out and putting in new hurricane impact windows, not only for the protection that they wanted to provide their home and their family, but they also wanted the benefits of energy efficiency. Let's take a look and see how the installation's going. So this family really loves living at the beach, but they kind of prefer that the beach stays at the beach instead of coming in through their old windows. When you open it, it doesn't stay open. It would slam back shut on their fingers. The other thing is, a lot of people have water coming into their home around where the windows no longer seal. Well, they had that problem too, but they also had the wind-driven sand that would come into their living space through the bottom of the windows. So it was imperative that they change these out. So now that we have the windows out of the opening, an important part of the process now is to examine what we have to determine what's the best way to do the installation. We recognize that it's going to be really important for us to put in new wood framing into the opening so that the new windows that go in will have something really secure and really tight to go into before it meets the block of the home. And then we're going to install the new PGT vinyl windows that this family wanted for this space. So now that these windows are installed, they're really going to enjoy, the easy things about how easy it's going to open. And when you open it, you don't have to be in a rush to get your fingers out of the way. It closes real well so that no water or air or sand is going to enter into the home anymore. Another option that this homeowner was hoping to get when replacing these windows was something that was a little bit easier for them to clean. So we were able to find them these great windows from PGT that will not only provide them great hurricane protection, but also allow them to tilt it in for them to have easy cleaning, and then really simply just put it back into the frame, close it, and seal it up. So not only will provide them great hurricane protection, energy efficiency, make the space more comfortable, but it's also going to make that household chores of cleaning the windows a lot easier as well. Back to you, Martin.
Thank you, Tack. Great information as always. Wow, Steve, so this makes a big difference already.
Yeah, we've opened up the walkway again and sort of trimmed things up, let the plants that were covered over by the fallen bushes be exposed.
Right.
Taken off some of our salt damaged plants, and it's starting to shape up. We've just got to throw some mulch down and get some water on it, and I think it's going to come back really nicely.
It's looking good. So at least the walkway is almost complete. We still need to tackle the side yard, right?
Yeah, we got to give them back their privacy.
So there's still a lot more happening.
No doubt.
Up next, new plants are brought in to replace the privacy lost between one house and the next.
For the next couple months, it's going to be difficult to get material in a lot of the nurseries.